Whether they cover issues players face daily or raise awareness for causes they care about, games have significant impact beyond playing time.
In recent years, studios have taken that to heart and gone beyond a fun experience to impact their fan bases. There have been moments full of surprises we won't forget, and even those games that didn't quite land still deserve to be acknowledged.
In our quest to create a better gaming community, Bossies seeks titles that go beyond traditional storytelling to deliver powerful messages, promote awareness, and create meaningful connections. We seek out organizations that are dedicated to doing the same. These nominees highlight important issues such as mental health, diversity, accessibility, and grief. As a mental health advocate, I was honored when I was asked to present the award for games making the biggest impact. We look forward to celebrating more games like this in the years to come as we work together to ensure that every gamer is heard. Before I share the nominees, I want to turn things over to Joe Telesk, the Executive Director of Guardians Mental Health. Guardians Mental Health has done amazing work in raising awareness about mental health in the gaming space. Over to you, Joe.
Hello, everyone. I am honored to be here representing Guardians Mental Health, a nonprofit dedicated to promoting mental health awareness throughout the gaming community. Our mission is to provide essential resources, meaningful programs, and create supportive, inclusive environments where everyone can thrive. Tonight, we celebrate not just our achievements, but the power of community and the importance of mental well-being. Thank you for your support and for believing in our cause. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing Guardians Mental Health's work, Joe. Without further ado, the nominees for games making the biggest impact are...
And the nominees are... Black Myth: Wukong by Game Science.
Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 by Ninja Theory.
Of the lost ones.
Indica by Odd Meter.
So many options.
Tales of Kenzara Zhao by Surgent Studios.
My name is Zhao. Shaman.
Until Then by Polychroma.
And the boss key goes to...
I can feel them on my skin.
Senua's Saga.
Death, inked in blood. I won't stop fighting for them. Until the very last beat fades away.
Before we move into the next segment, I want to take a few moments to say something about mental health awareness. For the last 2 years, I've been going through a few things and learning more about myself that I'm not sure I used to want to learn, right? Sometimes the stigma is embarrassing. Sometimes the stigma sticks depending on where you're from or who you're around or, what you're a part of. But I can't thank Guardians Mental Health and Joe Telesk enough for providing the resources that they did for me and looking out for people who are struggling with this. That's why we've invited them to be a part of the show. That's why they're going to be a part of the next segment. Their impact on my life, as well as many others, has been crucial. And I can't thank them enough. I interviewed Joe earlier this year with Mary Helen this summer, and it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. And then, playing through Hellblade and Hellblade 2 and really connecting with that character really brought a lot forward that made me realize how much I had been struggling and will continue to struggle. But, this is just a reminder that you are not alone and that Guardians Mental Health, as well as many other services like Geek Therapeutics or, non-gaming related organizations are out there to help. And if you are suffering, you can reach out to me, reach out to one of these organizations. They will point you in the right direction. They will provide the resources, and we hope that you do that. On with the show.
Hey everybody, my name's CGDannyB and I really like indie games and like sharing them with you guys. I'm a content creator who likes showcasing awesome, underappreciated indie games, and I'm also trying to put an end to the statement that there's just nothing to play. I got to meet the Boss Rush crew at PAX East earlier this year and found out how awesome all these guys really are. Well, except for that one person, but I'll try and let them figure out which one that is on their own. I'm thrilled to be here presenting the Boss Key for the best feel-good game at the 2024 Bossies. A great feel-good game is one that wraps you in warmth and positivity from the moment you start. It might be the charming characters, vibrant visuals, or uplifting music that creates a sense of joy and comfort. These games celebrate small victories, letting you explore, create, or simply unwind without pressure. Whether it's a cozy farming sim, a whimsical platformer, or a heartfelt story-driven adventure, the best feel-good games leave you smiling, with a gentle reminder of the simple pleasures gaming can bring to our lives. And it's now my pleasure to announce the nominees for the best feel-good game. Balatro by Local Thunk. Mika and the Witch's Mountain by Chibig and Nukefest. Astrobot by Team Asobi. Endless Ocean Luminous by Eureka. Little Kitty Big City by Double Dagger Studios. And the Boss Key goes to Astrobot by Team Asobi.
Greetings and salutations. This is Snerts, aka Joshua Stearns, from the PlayStation Experience podcast on the Play Some Video Games Network. I'm also the co-creator of Sacrilicious with Robin and Snerts, a Simpsons review show. Thanks to Edward and the Boss Rush Network for including me on the Bossies. Here are my 3 personal favorite games for 2024. First up is Horizon Forbidden West. Played it and the Burning Shores DLC for the first time this year. And folks, I gotta tell you, fighting giant mechanical monsters never gets old. This gorgeous game, diverse environments, exciting gameplay, and sheer scope makes it an easy pick for the year. Next is Star Wars Outlaws. Playing a Han Solo type character and exploring the non-Jedi Sith side of the galaxy was amazing. From the smaller touches like different planetary cuisine to the larger action set pieces, this game is a win. The first DLC mission featuring the iconic Lando Calrissian was an excellent addition. And don't let the detractors fool you. This is a fun Star Wars game. I think also potentially Uncharted fans will enjoy it. Give it a shot, especially if you see it on discount. It's definitely going to be worth the price. Finally, Helldivers 2, the mega hit that started the year. It was pretty rad to see so many different peer and family groups playing this game. Once the crossplay issues were ironed out, there was nothing standing in the way of freedom and democracy, except for the killer robots and the deadly bugs, and maybe some weird patch updates down the road. Still, amazing game, and I'm sure it's going to continue to have a place in the multiplayer sphere. All right, well, those are my 3 personal favorite games for 2024. Please check out the PlayStation Experience and Sacrilicious on your podcast platform of choice. I am Lord Snerts on most of the things. So thanks again to the Boss Rush Network for the invitation to the Bossies. Take care, everybody. Happy New Year.
What is going on, everyone? Matt here from PlayStation Generation over on Console Creatures. I am here at the Bossies to talk about my 3 favorite games of the year. This year was packed with so many incredible games, so many fantastic JRPGs, so many amazing indies. So I'm here to talk about my favorite 3. In my third slot is Astrobot. I know, I host a PlayStation podcast. This should be my number 1. And honestly, my top 3 could really go in any order given on any day. I love the 3 of them so much, but in my third slot is Astrobot. This is a game that I was incredibly excited for. I've been an Astrobot fan since Rescue Mission on PSVR 1. I loved the playroom. So coming into Astrobot, I knew what Team Asobi had in the tank. I knew that they had something really special ready to go for us. But despite that, it still blew me away and surprised me in ways that I never really anticipated. It's just so much fun. It's a game that never forgets exactly what it is, and it is there to give the player an incredible and fun adventure from start to finish. There's so much love for PlayStation fans here and for PlayStation's 30th history. There's so much in this game. The way that the flowers move and the way that they pop, the level design, the PlayStation cameos all the way through. There's just so much packed in here that makes you smile from ear to ear. I had a blast playing this from start to back. On any other year, it probably would have been in my top slot. But Astrobot is just a massive reminder on what games are supposed to be, and it remembers in every instance that it is fun. In my second slot, Metaphor ReFantazio. I am a massive Persona fan. So when Atlas announced that Studio Zero was taking the formula and bringing it into a medieval fantasy setting, I was going to be seated day one, no matter what. And I kind of expected that to be all it was going to be, but Metaphor takes that foundation and runs with it in so many new and exciting directions. The job system is so fluid. There's so much different ways that you can spec your characters in your party. You can make a healer tank. You can make a DPS healer. There's just so many different ways that you can mess with that system. That is really cool. The characters are fantastic. The story is incredible. It deals with so much more than I think I was expecting from it. Centered around this battle for the crown, but also dealing with classism, racism, religious fanaticism, and so much more. Metaphor is just incredible. It is probably the best RPG this year and one of my favorites of all time. It's worth everyone playing and checking out. Metaphor is just incredible. There is one game, though, that while I think it's probably a worse game, it is still my favorite game of the year, and that's Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. I have so much love for the Yakuza Like a Dragon series. So getting Infinite Wealth almost felt like a pipe dream. We thought Kiryu was gone, and they brought him back for another round with Ichiban. And seeing these two protagonists on screen together was just such an incredibly special moment. And Kiryu dealing with everything that he's dealing with in that game is just incredibly poignant and handled in a really fantastic way. Taking us out of Japan to Hawaii for the first time. Everything about Infinite Wealth is just personifies what I love about gaming. It is a incredible story with fantastic characters. There's so much to do, from a Pokemon style monster catching mini game to an Animal Crossing like island management simulator. Infinite Wealth just does what everything that RGG does, distilled into one game. A mix of a core and emotional, heartfelt story with ridiculously wild side content. That game means everything to me. Infinite Wealth is my game of the year. Thank you so much for listening to me talk for the last couple minutes about my games of the year. Come check us out on consolecreators.com. PlayStation Generation is live every Sunday at 8 p.m. Thank you to the Bossies for inviting me out here. I appreciate you all so very much. Have a safe and wonderful holiday and a new year. We'll see you next time.
Making games takes a lot of time and hard work. For some titles, the results may end up differently than we expect. There are certain games that need more polish, and there are certain games that failed on many levels. Here are the nominees for Best Worst Game.
Spontaneous creative decision made after years of careful research.
Being really old.
Concord by Firewalk Studios.
Almost dying is the best way to learn how not to die. Besides, it worked, didn't it?
Soon.
Funko Fusion by 1010 Games. Multiverses by Player First Games. Slitterhead by Bouquet Games.
He's the fastest!
Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League by Rocksteady.
Feeling glad I got sunshine in a bag. I'm useless.
And the boss key goes to
Take any job, face any enemy.
Concord by Firewalk Studio.
We're the free gunner crew of the North Star. And together, we're going to make our mark on this galaxy.
Hi everyone, my name is AshSaidHi, and I broadcast on twitch.tv/AshSaidHi, where my main focus is retro games and indie games with a retro vibe. I love connecting with people through the joy of nostalgia and retro games, and the vibe of my channel is kind of like something like Mr. Rogers Made for Adults, where it's comforting, fun, and really awesome for anybody who loves retro games. I have known the Boss Rush community because we did a few podcasts together and they were really awesome. I had such a good time. It was great conversation, and hopefully we'll do some more in the future so that way you can have some fun things to listen to, especially from somebody like me who loves retro games. I'm excited to be here at the 2024 Bossies presenting the Boss Key for the best remake or remaster. We all know that nostalgia is a powerful emotion. It's that special connection to the past that brings back memories of simpler times, imaginative characters, and fewer buttons. It transports us back to moments that helped define who we are as gamers. Nostalgia is a force that continues to shape our industry, inspiring countless games each year and giving new life to beloved classics through remakes and remasters. These modern reimaginings breathe fresh life into the games that once captivated us, combining the familiar with modern visuals, improved mechanics, quality of life enhancements, and enriched storytelling. They let us relive those beloved experiences while offering something new, proving that the magic of the past can be rediscovered in the present. Here are the nominees for Best Remake or Remaster: Dragon Quest III 2D HD by Team Asano, Mario vs. Donkey Kong by Nintendo, Silent Hill 2 by Bloober Team, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection by Capcom, Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy by Capcom, and the Boss Key goes to...
We're all the same.
Silent Hill 2 by Bloober Team.
Are you afraid?
Run!
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Lloyd Chris Jones, community manager, lordsofgaming.net. Shout out to Corey. Shout out to the Bossies, Boss Rush Network, Boss Rush Media, the whole team. Pleasure to have met you guys at PAX East this year. Great to consider you friends. But Chris Jones, community manager, part of the Bossies. You one of my top 5 games of 2024. We'll start off with number 5, Unicorn Overlord. If you know Chris, you know me. You know I'm a sucker for a good tactical strategy game, RPG, anything to have to do with putting my mind to the test, so to speak. Unicorn Overload definitely what's the palate, so to speak. Great artwork, great musical soundtrack, lots of strategic know-how to be had. We're going to go with number 4, and that's going to be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, great artwork, great soundtrack, One of the best moments of 2024, I'm not going to spoil anything, one of the best moments of 2024 in gaming, period, happens in this game. You know, Final Fantasy's always been a great series. I love me some Final Fantasy. Number 3 on the list, gotta go with Metaphor ReFantazio. The demo did an amazing job giving enough time for people to get the feel of the game, see what they're going to get into, and Atlas, another hit on their hands. Metaphor in the same realm, kind of a Persona-like game, and I look forward to continuing to play that. Number 2 and number 1 on the list are interchangeable. This was a tough choice for me. If you know me for the past couple years, I've been Lord Ayuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. I'm an old school JRPG guy. But number 2, I'm going to go with Yakuza Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Love me some Ichiban, Cosmic Kiryu, Yang Yao, amazing voice actor for the English version of Kiryu in this game. Great job, great continuation of the Like a Dragon story. My personal favorite moment happens in this game. I know Lord Cognito, if you know him, he'd agree with me that our favorite moment in a game from 2024 happens in this game. Great story. I love everything about the Yakuza franchise. But number 1, you know me, like I said, Ayuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. Amazing game, start to finish. Essentially perfect to me for my experience when I reviewed it on PC. It does a great job at doing what it's supposed to do, being a spiritual successor for my favorite video game series, Suikoden. Continues on the legacy of that style of gameplay, but brings a modern look to it. The 2D sprites in the 3D world. You could be going through like a forest, and you can see some of the plants moving, stuff like that. 120 unique heroes, unique backstories. Every character feels unique. You can get a chance to recruit all of them. Amazing story. I'm not going to spoil any of it, but it is a perfect successor to what a future Suikoden should be. Luckily, we got the chance to experience it. We lost Yoshitaka Murayama right before the game released, but luckily the team, put their best foot forward, strive to put out the best possible product, and they succeeded. I love the game. It's not quite Suikoden. Suikoden's always my baby, but Ayuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, my personal number 1 game of the year. Once again, this was Lord Chris, aka Community Manager, lordsofgaming.net. Shout out to the Bossies, shout out to Corey, the entire team. I love you guys. Salute.
Hey everybody, it's Ebontis, and I want to thank the Boss Rush team for including me in the Bossies this year. And I wanted to take a second to shout out my top kind of few big moments of the year, just whether it was games or experiences or whatever it may be. And if you guys don't know me, I've covered Destiny for years and years, Destiny 2, and then of course in the past few years I branched out to cover a whole bunch of things. Also do the Last Word podcast with Lord Cognito and Ty Guy Travis. Great guys out there. Thank you guys for sharing the podcast with me. But this year in 2024, I've played a lot of different games. Some of my favorite experiences this year have been all over the map, but for me, if I have to pick out a couple, almost 3 moments from gaming, I don't even have my top 10 per se ironed out, but Black Myth Wukong has a sequence in it, because if you go through and do the true ending, which is what they call it, it is a optional boss, one of the hardest fights in the game, but such a satisfying experience to beat. But after you beat that optional boss fight, what transpires after that is something that, like, everybody who plays the game should experience, because it is just such a unique experience to the game. One more thing in that game that I didn't expect that they would do. So if you do go through and play the game, again, I went through pretty organically, found most things, but before you get to the final chapter, go through and try and look at a guide to see what you may have missed, and try and make sure you experience that piece of Black Myth Wukong. It's fantastic, and it is one of my top games of the year. Second one for me might actually, it's a toss-up. Like, Balatro is a fantastic game. Prince of Persia: Lost Crown is one of the best Metroidvanias I've played all year, but Pacific Drive, for me, was a game I was like, it looks kind of cool. You're tinkering with this, like, station wagon in this anomaly-filled zone, and it is just such a bizarre start to a game, but the way the game came together is you're building the parts, getting farther in, the story that took place in there, kind of the emotions that hit in the very end, The ending of Pacific Drive is one of those moments that sticks with you. And it's gonna be a funky game, and it may not land for everybody, but I am so happy that I got to play that game. I'm so happy that game exists. And if you get a chance to play Pacific Drive, try and stick it out to the end, because it really does come together, and it's a great, great game. Final moment for me is probably going to be Destiny 2 in the final shape. The way they landed the plane after 10 years, I got tears in my eyes at a moment. The finale, the raid, the missions, the cinematics, the campaign for the final shape, from mission 1 through the raid in the middle, mission 8 with the big culmination with like 12 people, and then the cinematic at the end of all that, is kind of a moment I'm never going to forget. I don't know what the future of Destiny holds, but the final shape and the way that campaign start to finish, but the ending of that campaign especially, is truly unforgettable for somebody who's been with the franchise for a decade now. So thank you, Corey, and everybody at the Boss Rush team. Shout out to everybody involved in the Bossies, and hopefully you all have a great holiday, New Year's, and enjoy what's coming in 2025, because there's a lot more games to come.
All right, and we are live. Lord Cognito here, CEO of LordsOfGaming.net, host of the Iron Lords podcast, co-host of Defining Duke and the Last Word podcast, and I'm honored to be a presenter here at the 2024 Bossies, man. Shout out to Corey and the whole team. Got a chance and a pleasure to meet him at PAX and the Lords of the Boss Rush Media. I like that name, Boss Rush. Getting your bosses on and all that. But salute to that. And I was actually honored to be a part of the Boss Rush Network podcast. But yeah, we're here to talk to Bossies. The Boss Rush 2024 Bossies, and I'm proud to present the award for the best surprise in Xbox Game Pass in 2024. Over the past year, Xbox Game Pass continued to impress us with a mix of creative indies, unique AA titles, and some long-awaited first-party releases. We were blown away by the stunning graphics of Hellblade 2, brand new adventure with Indiana Jones, and unique designs of Jusant and Dungeons of Hindenburg. The service also brought standout Japanese titles like Persona 3 Reload, Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess, showing how Xbox Game Pass kept surprising and delighting its fans with a variety of experiences. So here are the nominations for the best surprise on Xbox Game Pass. Power World by Pocket Pair. Dungeons of Hindenburg by Microburg Games. Still Wakes the Deep by the Chinese Room. Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess by Capcom. And the boss key goes to Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess. Man, congratulations, Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess, and the entire development team. Shout out to Capcom for giving us and blessing us with this unique Kagura-style action game, turn-based / RTS with bosses, and it's a work of art, man. These type of games you rarely see anymore, and it's very cool to see Capcom take a chance on something like this, which is so unique in the space, as well as shout out to Xbox and Game Pass for taking a chance on this and absolutely helping to fund the game. I'm a huge fan of this game. I always kind of wax poetic on it, and I'm very proud that they were able to win because I'm definitely a champion of this game. But again, salute to Kunitsugami Path to the Goddess, one of the standouts in 2024, and definitely one of the best surprises on Xbox Game Pass.
Hey everybody, my name is Dan, but you might know me as Danomak from my YouTube channel where I talk your ear off about video games, I do reviews, I make lists, all sorts of stuff there. I've been a good friend of Boss Rush for a while. I used to write for the site, which was exciting, and now I just do my own thing, but I've always found my way back and forth onto their podcasts. And now I'm thrilled to be here at the 2024 Bossies to present the Boss Key for Best Indie Game by a Solo Developer. Indie games hold a special place in our hearts, offering bold creativity, personal expression, and innovative ideas that often go beyond the limits of AAA titles who can't afford to take those kinds of risks. When crafted by a single developer, these games become even more extraordinary, showcasing a pure, unfiltered vision. With limited resources, solo developers rely on clever design and innovative problem solving to deliver unforgettable experiences. Their dreams, passion, and dedication create games that feel personal, connecting with players in ways large-scale productions often cannot. That is why Boss Rush has added this category for this year's Bossies. The nominees for Best Indie Game by a Solo Developer are Farewell North by Kyle Banks and Moon Eye Studios, Crypt Custodian by Kyle Thompson, Balatro by Local Thunk, Ast Libra Revision by Keizo, Animal Well by Billy Basso and Shared Memory LLC. And the Boss Key goes to Balatro by Local Thunk.
Hi there, I'm Dave Jackson, host of the Tales from the Backlog podcast. Tales from the Backlog is a weekly Backlog Games review podcast where each episode, myself and a different guest go deep on the game of the week, including a no-spoiler section for quite some time. So if you are curious about a game, you want to check it out, but you don't want to be spoiled, you can listen to any episode of my show, and you can stick around after that spoiler warning for a deep dive discussion on usually the story, but sometimes other spoilery things within that game. You may want to check out the episode that Boss Rush co-host Stephanie Klimov was on about Silent Hill that came out in October 2024. But there's like 150 games in the feed, so you can check out any game that you're curious about. And I'm happy to be part of this as a part of the extended Boss Rush network. I met up with the Boss Rush crew at PAX East 2024 for the first time when Corey and Stephanie decided they wanted to interview me, of all people, and talk about the show, talk about stuff at PAX East. So that was my introduction, and it's just been a wonderful group of people and extended community in the Discord server and stuff like that. So that is me, and I am thrilled to be here presenting the Boss Key for Game That Plays Best on Handheld PCs at the 2024 Bossies. Nintendo Switch proved that console-quality games can be played anywhere, seamlessly transitioning from portable to TV mode with ease. This innovation showed the world that portability didn't have to come at the cost of high-quality gaming experience. Devices like the Steam Deck and ROG Ally have taken this concept further, delivering cutting-edge mobile performance and customizable features that bring PC gaming into the handheld space, while bringing your already existing libraries with you. These advancements have blurred the lines between portability and performance, redefining how and where we play. And without further ado, here are the nominations for the game that plays the best on handheld PCs. Balatro by Local Thunk. Dragon Age: The Veilguard by BioWare.
Maybe that's what's...
God of War Ragnarok by Sony Santa Monica Studio. Kunitsugami: Path of the Goddess by Capcom. Animal Well by Billy Basso and Shared Memory LLC. And the boss key goes to... Balatro by Local Thunk.
Thanks, Corey, and thanks to Boss Rush for including Nindie Nation in this year's roundup. I'm Jeff, and across the 109 indie games we played in 2024, these are 3 of our favorites. We start with Berserk Boy, the action platformer drenched in 90s futuristic vibes that plays like Mega Man Zero with inspiration from cult classics like Rocket Knight and Pulseman. The evil Dr. Genos and his Berserk orb-wielding minions are up to no good, and your paramilitary resistance team has just learned that every time you take out one of those minions, you absorb not only their power, but their entire form as well. Across 15 stages with a central hub area, initial reviews from back in March criticized the game's required backtracking, but since that was recently patched out, you can now blow right through the stages, get your powers, and beat the game. Or take your time, use all your abilities to find every collectible, and play quick and stylishly to earn an S rank in each level. Regardless of your preference, though, the game's gorgeous 32-bit pixel art, stellar soundtrack by the illustrious T. Lopes, and gameplay that feels so good you won't want to put it down, be prepared for every minute of Berserk Boy to deliver a retro-inspired delight. Next up is 2024's most overlooked game, Grapple Dog's Cosmic Canines, which is an absolute treat from start to finish that might have been overlooked due to it being a sequel of 2022's wonderful Grapple Dog. Sure, there's another soundtrack by Jazz Mickle, and the further refined visuals take that Game Boy Advance charm to the nth degree, but there's so much more going on here. Cosmic Canines introduces Luna, who fits the bill as a new character in a 2000s-era-inspired sequel by being a dark, brooding companion with eyeliner and guns. Pablo's still here, charming and oblivious as ever, and since levels are divvied up between the two characters, his upgraded moveset accompanies generally larger stages you'll explore while still using the best grappling hook in all of video games. Playing as Luna, your dual guns auto-aim and auto-reload, but manage to change the moment-to-moment gameplay significantly, focusing more on combat with more complex enemies, and a general sense of pushing towards the end of the stage compared to Pablo's typically more relaxed pacing. The sequel allows far more freedom in how you tackle the stages, and also includes a slew of accessibility options so you can tune the difficulty and experience to your liking. Perhaps too many gamers just fell in love with the original and assumed the sequel would be more of the same, but I'm here to tell you, it is so much more. In fact, Grapple Dog's Cosmic Canines is definitely towards the top of our favorite games of 2024. We round out today's list with a title that just dropped in December, but has already made that big of an impression on us. Savant Ascent Remix was originally released for PC in 2013 before D-Pad Studio would go on to release their masterpiece Owlboy in 2016. In 2023, Savant Ascent received a 10-year anniversary remake, and that is what just came to the Switch. You play as a wizard riding an elevator to the top of a tower owned by the bad guy who's sending all his minions down to try and stop you. You shoot enemies by pointing the right analog stick at them, and have various abilities mapped to the shoulder buttons. Those abilities, which are key to survival, recharge as you move, and your moveset is very limited. You flick left or right to hop on one elevator or the other, up to jump, and hold down to charge your attack. And that's it. The combination of score and combo chasing being tied to movement means you're constantly jumping, flipping, and dashing to dodge attacks while firing off your own. And it all feels incredibly satisfying thanks to quick, responsive controls and audio-visual cues that'll keep your blood pumping. There's 2 modes, Classic and Remix, which change how upgrades and stage progression are handled, and I've had a blast climbing my way up the leaderboards in both, with runs usually delivering 20 to 30 minutes of non-stop arcadey action. Savant Ascent Remix might not be everyone's cup of tea, but if you like what you see, rest assured that it does deliver, and with a launch price of only $7.49, it's definitely one worth taking a chance on. Thanks so much to the team at Boss Rush for including Nindie Nation in this year-end wrap-up, and I hope to see you over in the nation of Nindie, where we always find just the thing to keep your Joy-Cons synced.
Hey, what's up, Boss Rushers? It's Trey from NintenDomain Podcast, and I'm so happy to be here, and thank you for having me on for the Bossies. Let's talk about 3 of my favorite games for 2024. 2024 may have not been as big as 2023, but there have been so many good games coming out, and it's hard to narrow it down to 3, but I will do my best, so let's get going. Number 1 is Yakuza Kiwami. I nearly lost it when I saw that Yakuza was finally going to make an appearance on Nintendo Switch. I remember the first time I was on Nintendo Pow Block, Ed asked me what game series I wanted to see on Switch, and I said, Yakuza. I wanted this for a long time, and I thought it was never going to happen because the Yakuza creator himself said that the Switch was a toy system for kids, and Yakuza was too mature to be put on the system. But here we are, and it finally came out. For the few that have not been able to experience it, now you can on the Nintendo Switch, and you can play it on the go. It's a lot of fun. Check it out. Live in a giant world in a tiny space in Kamurocho and Yakuza Kiwami. It's only $20 and digital only. Get it. Number 2, Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake. It feels like this game was announced oh so long ago, and it is finally available to play for Nintendo Switch. Dragon Quest III is considered by many to be one of the greatest RPGs of all time, and it's really cool to see it get the HD 2D treatment. But that is not all it got. It also got a brand new class, the Monster Wrangler, so you can go around and find monsters in the world, and you can use them to fight in the tournaments and all that. They added all that, but that's not all they added. They also got new cutscenes with spoken dialogue, expanded dungeons, and so much more. The late Akira Toriyama's artwork has never looked so great on this game. It looks beautiful, and now people can experience the first console RPG with a class mechanic and on the go on Nintendo Switch. Go get it. Number 3, Ys 10 Nordics. It's Ys, and it's on a boat. Ys is one of my favorite action RPG series, and I was very excited to finally see it make its way stateside. The great thing about this one is that Falcom designed it specifically for the Nintendo Switch, so it runs better than any of the previous entries have been on the Switch. You take on the role as the hero for the Ys series, Adol, Kristen, and the Viking princess Karja, and you take your boat to the high seas to rescue many people who have been turned into Griegers, and you can convert them back into humans, and once you can convert them into humans, they become your shipmates, and they can travel with you on the boat and help you upgrade your boat, and all that sort of thing. And yeah, it's very exciting, and the soundtrack still kicks ass, just like it does in all the other Ys games. So it's baller as hell. So you owe it to yourself to check this one out, and it even has a 7-hour plus demo that carries into the regular game. So don't miss the boat with this one. Get out there and get some Ys. And that's it. That's my 3 big game releases for 2023. Thank you so much for having me on here, and I hope to see you on NintenDomain, or see me on Nintendo Pow Block, or whatever else you're doing, Boss Rushers. Let's do it, and hope to see you in the future. But thanks so much. See you later.
2024 was another year filled with unforgettable and iconic moments. Decades-long stories reached their climactic conclusions. Thrilling final pushes kept players on edge, and unexpected revelations left a lasting impact. Emotional finales brought triumph and nostalgia, while revisiting one of gaming's most iconic sequences reminded us of its legacy. From small victories to major milestones, 2024 proved that gaming can tell stories as powerful as any movie, TV show, or book. Here are the biggest moments of 2024 as voted on by Boss Rush. The last level, Neva. The Forest Sanctuary Revelation, Metaphor, Refantasio. The Final Push, Dragon Age, The Veilguard. Ghost and Cade's Sacrifice, Destiny 2, The Final Shape.
My light. Nobody makes my fate but me.
Aerith's Fate, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And the boss key goes to Aerith's Fate, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Whether they cover issues players face daily or raise awareness of causes they care about, games have a significant impact beyond playing time.
If you know of a studio or organization that seeks to make a difference beyond the controller, please let us know. We hope that in years to come, this segment continues to grow and highlight those companies making a difference and raising awareness to important causes.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me on the 2024 Bossies. My name is Noah, but you may know me as SomeHumbleOnion, and I'm the creator of a game called Smushi Come Home. I know we're here to celebrate some of our favorite gaming moments of 2024, and honestly, this has probably been my most diverse gaming year ever. But there were a couple that really stood out to me that I pretty much played through all the way, and the first one being Small Saga. This game really took me by surprise, and I don't even usually play RPGs, but it's a really good one I highly recommend checking out. The second game on my list is Balatro. I'm sure you've heard of it by now, and this game is just so good for so many reasons. You really just need to go try it out. But it's so addictive, it's kind of difficult to learn at first, but it has a lot to offer. And it really is just the game that keeps on giving. And lastly, probably my favorite game that I played with friends this year was V-Rising. If you're a fan of like hack and slash, but kind of Diablo-esque styled games, and you want something that you don't have to sink 100 hours into to beat, I would say V-Rising is a great choice. Thanks again for having me on the 2024 Bossies, and be sure to check out my game Smushi Come Home. It's on Steam, Nintendo Switch, and we even have some physical copies now.